Hey, welcome to Broken World Entertainment, and we're finally getting to review The Last Voyage of the Demeter, the new horror movie from Universal and DreamWorks, oddly enough. The movie was meant to come out in Europe until Lionsgate bought the company, the studio, who was releasing it. And there go, they put a stop to it being released for some reason, but it's available online now, so you can find it that way. I'll give you non-spoiler and then spoiler. I'll give you fair warning for spoilers. My overall thoughts on the movie: I enjoyed it. It's it's kind of reminiscent a small bit of Alien. Now that might seem strange when you're thinking, but it's a Dracula horror movie. What I mean by that is the enclosed space on the ship with something that they don't understand hunting them, basically. So the interesting part is the way the movie opens. It tells you straight away that this is the story based on the captain's log from the book of Dracula, which is interesting. So the effects of Dracula himself in this is pretty decent, especially when you consider it's actually a dude in makeup. Obviously, they enhance it a bit with CG, especially when he's flying. That's not a spoiler, you see that in the trailer. So he looks great, and he's very kind of Batman, which sounds weird, but it's like he's always kind of in a dark corner in a room somewhere. The surprising thing that did surprise me about this was just how much of him you actually saw. I wasn't expecting to see as much of him as we actually do in the movie. I was expecting them to be, you kind of see bits and pieces of him and not very often, but you actually see quite a lot of him quite often as well. And it doesn't take long before things start happening, really get going. It takes 17 minutes. That's it before it starts taking off in that sense. The cast was great. No faults with any of them. The whole mixed bag. There's Liam Cunningham, who plays the captain of the ship. And he's actually an English captain, which is interesting, especially when you find out his plan. Their job is, if they get to London by the 6th of August, they'll get a bonus of 75 shillings, I think it is. And Liam Cunningham's character, Captain Elliot, wants to buy a house in Ireland. Yeah, so he's the captain. The main actor of the movie, though, is Corey Hawkins, who plays Clemens, who's basically a doctor. And then David, I can never pronounce his second name. How do you pronounce it? Dasta Malachina or something like that. The dude who played Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad. He's the second in command. They find, or I should say Clemens finds the girl, Anna, in the cargo bay, who is basically food for Dracula. And once they find her, Dracula has to go other routes to get fed. And basically the livestock is the first to go. Again, you see that in the trailer, so none of this is spoilers. The guy who plays Dracula is called Javier Botet. I have no idea how you pronounce the second name, but his first name is Javier. And the more he feeds, the more he doesn't become more human, at least on the ship, but he becomes more powerful and more together. He's kind of, not decaying, but more, what way would you explain it? He's more feral. I think that's the best way to explain. He's more feral. But once he starts to feed, he gets stronger. Like, he doesn't have the wings to start with. So that obviously comes about. The ship itself, the set, that's a real set they built. They actually built the ship, which is great as well, because it means you're not watching them walk around like on a volume screen or anything like that. So that was cool. And the look of it as well was great. You know, the cinematography and the color grading they used, all pretty good, pretty decent. So I definitely enjoyed it. There's a few parts like that are a bit kind of misses a little bit, where you think that could have been better, but it doesn't take away from the movie, not for me anyway. But that'll be the non-spoiler stuff. So overall, I'd probably give it about a 7 out of 10. You know, there's just a couple of things that are a bit weird, more so towards the end. But other than that, yeah, definitely recommend it. And with that, I'll get into the spoilers. So, fair warning. So here we go on 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoilers. So, the ship has, I think it's 9 crew. The first officer, the captain's grandson Toby, and livestock. So there's quite a few people. They're on their way to London. When they get the cargo on, they're looking for 3 more abled people to come on board, and one of them is, well, one of the people that wants to get on board is Clemens, who they initially say no to and pick 3 other people. And one of the guys notices the dragon logo on the crates that they're loading onto the ship, and he lets go of the crate. The crate almost falls on Toby, but Clemens pushes Toby out of the way, and the guy is like, "You never said anything about dragons," and he's like, "Your journey's doomed. I'm out. Good luck and thanks." And Clemens gets his place because he saved Toby. Toby, you're wondering why is there a kid on there? Well, again, it's Elliot's grandson, and his job is to look after the livestock. And of course, the livestock's the first thing that goes. The dog goes first. You don't get to see the animals get killed. You just see the aftermath of them being killed. So if you're a bit kind of, I don't want to see that happen, you don't see that happening, but you do see the aftermath of what happened. Then they constantly knock on the ship, which was a cool effect they do, where they knock on it and it reverberates throughout the ship, and then you knock back. And when people start getting taken out, Dracula starts kind of confusing them, but he starts knocking. You know, and it's interesting the way people start getting taken out and when they get taken out and whatnot. One of them becomes kind of like a zombie almost, and he ends up bursting into flames. They tie him to he's the reason Toby gets killed. Yes, Toby died. They all die, bar one, which is Clemens. Clemens is the only one to live. Which kind of sets up a possibility of a sequel, because it ends with him in London hunting Dracula. He's in a bar. He's writing in his journal and he hears the 2 knocks. And he's looking around. He finally turns around. There's the cane that he found in Dracula's coffin. And it turns and it's him, and he's going on the hunt for him. But it starts off with the ship wrecked. The ship does make it. Yes, Dracula survives. Everyone else doesn't, bar Clemens. And yeah, good movie. So that's your spoilers. So with that, that's the review for Last of the Demeter. Good movie. 7 out of 10 I'd give it. Highly recommend. And with that, I'll leave it there for this one. So cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.